Hello, athletes. Welcome and thank you for tuning into the Coach Katie Danger podcast, recorded live from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm your host, Coach Katie Danger, U.S. Army veteran, fitness coach, and founder of Red H Nutrition. Here's a fact for you. 99% of us are not elite athletes. We're individuals from all backgrounds, juggling life's priorities, including jobs, our families, their needs, and trying to find time to take care of ourselves. Every single week when you tune in, I'll be discussing clear, concise, and actionable strategies you can use to get the most from your fitness, nutrition, and mindset so you can optimize your life without compromising your time. So athletes, settle in and get comfortable. I'm here to educate, inspire, empower, and entertain you to help you enjoy the unique fitness journey that you are on. Hey athletes, what is up? It is Coach Katie Danger, and this is episode number 71 of the Coach Katie Danger podcast. I really appreciate you joining me. Just like every week, I enjoy bringing the energy and sharing with you things that maybe you didn't know, and maybe can help you fill certain gaps and puzzle pieces in your fitness and nutrition journey to help you get better, faster results. This week, I'm going to be talking to you about how supplements are made. So this is like the birds and the bees of supplementation, everything from the idea, how the formula comes together in a problem solution format, the research that I do, the manufacturer that I work with, and then how we put it all together to then get on your shelf, get on the website, get on redhnutrition.com, and then into your hands and benefiting you in a very, very valuable way. But first, I want to talk about some things that are going on. So it is July. It is the middle of the month. This is actually the greatest month of the entire year. My birthday is on July 5th. My wedding anniversary is on the 6th. My parents' wedding anniversary is on the 7th. And then, of course, July 4th. So I've got couple days here coming up where it's just going to be the best time of year, and I'm really looking forward to it. Couple things that I wanted you to know about what's going on. I launched my hybrid coaching program, the Metabolic Amplification Formula, and you can schedule your free call with me. I'd love to learn more about your goals. What is driving you? What challenges are you currently facing? And how can we leverage 6 dimensions of metabolic health to help you get to where you want to go and keep those results for a lifetime? If you haven't already, scroll back to episode number 70 after you get done listening and learn more about the formula and what the real aspects of metabolism are so you can start leveraging those opportunities to get the results that you really, really want and last for a lifetime. Number 2, we've got a plank challenge going on. So last month in June, we did 100 lunges a day for 30 days. And wow, the results, one, were fantastic. Everybody was reporting, my leg definition is increased. I'm feeling stronger. My knees don't hurt as much. So we went from some people being a little hesitant because they weren't sure if they could complete it, to being able to do 100 lunges in a couple minutes, and it ain't no thing. So this month in July, we started a 5-minute plank challenge. And I know it might sound daunting, but core and midline is absolutely essential for preventing injury, just strength in general, whether you're a power athlete, a cardio athlete, or just a general everyday athlete. Midline stability, midline strength, core strength, very, very important. So I thought, what a great idea. Now, you don't have to do 5 minutes all at once. If you're just joining in this podcast and you have no idea about this challenge, you can get started today. There's no better time to get started on anything than today. It is 5-minute plank challenge. So you don't have to do 5 minutes all at once, but the goal is to accumulate at least 5 minutes of planks for the day. So if it's we start on day 1 yesterday, how I did it is I did not go 5 full minutes all at once. I broke it up into 5 sets. I did 1 minute on, I rested for 30 seconds, and then I did another round of 1 minute. I did it 5 times. And my gosh, it was actually, it's a little embarrassing to admit this, but I'm sure I'm not alone, especially if you're in on this. 5 minutes of planks, whether you break it up or not, is a lot harder than it sounds. But just like June's challenge, things are difficult when we start, but then as we go and we stay consistent, it's going to get a lot easier. So I anticipate at the end of the month, 5 minutes of planks isn't going to be much of a challenge, but that's the goal, right? Like, we're showing that through consistent small action. Here's actually a quick lesson before we get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. Small, consistent action, little things day after day. That's where the real magic is. That's where the results lie. And I know the people in on this challenge who did June's, and then I know going in July, if they do the work, they'll get the results. So there's your lesson today. If you're struggling to get started with anything, just take off a little bit. Just take off a little bit and get started. One thing at a time, right? 1 minute of plank, and then do another minute of planks, and then another minute, right? You don't have to, have a world record in planking to get started on this challenge. So that's what we got going on this month. But here is the whole point of this podcast. I really love talking about this. I can't believe I haven't talked about it any sooner. I can't believe it's episode number 71 and I've never brought it up. How are supplements made? I get this question all the time. How are these things even, like, how do you know what to put in a supplement? Who makes it for you? How do we know it's safe? And this is going to answer all those questions for you. So if that is of interest to you, stay tuned. Now, I will do a disclaimer here. I cannot tell you how other companies do things. I can only tell you how Redi Nutrition does things. I'm going to tell you exactly what goes on in my mind because I create all these formulas. And how I create these formulas is the first topic that we're going to jump into. So there's lots of misinformation about there with supplements. A lot of people think that they're not regulated, by the FDA, or they're not approved, or they're just unsafe in general. And I've done a podcast on this before. That is untrue. Supplements are regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. They are regulated under the food component of the Food and Drug Administration. So they are dietary supplements, and they have to have nutrition labels and nutrition facts that line up with what the food regulations state in the FDA. Now, they're not a drug. The pharmaceutical industry does not regulate them, and that's why prices are generally affordable for supplementation. You don't have to go to a doctor to get a prescription. And there's a lot more research than you would probably expect when it comes to supplements. They've been around for a really long time. I know that in some of the research I've done, I've talked about creatine. Creatine has been around for decades. 60s and 70s, they've been using creatine in athletes. So supplementation is not a new concept, but it is still very, very misunderstood. And I'm hoping that this podcast can add some more information to your toolbox so you can make better decisions for yourself and feel a little bit more confident as you navigate the supplement and nutrition space. 1994, Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, DSHEA. That was one of the major movements in supplementation in regulating it, creating safety guidelines that manufacturers have to adhere to. There are good manufacturing practices. There are labeling guidelines, Code of Federal Regulations, CFRs. They dictate how supplements can be made, what manufacturers have to do to adhere to safety standards, and then the labeling, like the claims. There are certain things that you can just not say. And it's shocking to me when I see things on labels that I've attempted to put on a label and it's got denied by my manufacturer because they're like, our compliance department looked at it and it just doesn't fall in compliance. So the good thing about that is my manufacturer doesn't want to be sued and I don't want to be sued. So we make sure that we fall in line with the FDA and what guidelines and the things that we can say. So that's good news. And that all started in 1994 with that initial act. And there have been bills and legislation passed since then that have added to and fortified those standards. So things are safe and things are regulated. Now, there are manufacturers, there are companies that get by with stuff that's not safe. I mean, we've seen it before. There's things called SARMs, and they're not anabolic steroids, but they're precursors to steroids. So they act, when they get in your body, they act in a way that is very similar to how a steroid would act. And those are not regulated by the FDA. They are experimental. You can find companies that will sell them to you, but often they come at a cost to your overall health and certain feedback loops, especially when it comes to hormones. And then long-term use is generally not safe. However, let's get to how Redi Nutrition, how I operate. Gave you the big top-down picture about how supplements are generally regulated, things to look out for, things to look for, questions to ask of the brand that you choose. All of this stuff should be transparent. There shouldn't be any secrecy behind any of this. And I hope my information shows you that, hey, Redi Nutrition is transparent. I'm going to tell you exactly how things are made, how my manufacturer works with me, and then what the process is, how I get it in stock, and then deliver it to you. The goal. When it comes to creating a supplement, I always start with the goal in mind. When I started the line of Redi Nutrition, I started with 4 products. I started with a joint and tissue support supplement. I started with a sleep supplement. And then there's the sexy products. I've got the BCAAs and the pre-workout. People like powders. They like to taste things. They like to feel things. I was a little hesitant to put out a pre-workout when I started because I didn't want to put anything out that people might think is a quick fix or a magic pill. But when it came to Super Flexi, which has been around since the dawn of Redi Nutrition in 2016, and Zenrem, those are things that really, really help us from a long-term longevity standpoint. They're not necessarily sexy. You're not writing home to your friends. You're not posting all over Instagram like, oh my God, this, the sleep supplement, it was fantastic. It made me feel awesome. Usually those are things that we just kind of feel after consistent use. Like you got more energy, you feel better, you move better. And when you feel good, you feel good. So I always start with a problem. What is a problem somebody has? People have pain. Super Flexi helps eliminate joint pain and inflammation. People struggle with their sleep, and we know sleep is really vital for recovery. So we have ZenREM to help with sleep. Pre-workout, people want to feel stronger. They want to have a bit more energy and push, drive, motivation, mental clarity, and focus when they're working out. So that's what a pre-workout is great for. Branched chain amino acids. How can I build more muscle? How can I recover faster? That's the problem. The solution is get your branched chain amino acids in, get your essential amino acids in. That's the building blocks of protein. That is how we repair and rebuild muscle faster and stronger. So that's how I start. I always start with problem solution. What is my audience? What are everyday athletes struggling with right now? And how can we put together a formula that is safe, effective, and has some scientific evidence to back up what we're saying it's going to do? So pain points. Oftentimes, humans will move away from pain faster than we will move towards potential gain. I don't know what the exact statistic is, but generally, people are more motivated to relieve pain than they are to gain something. So this is a classic example. People will generally not want to lose $100 more than they want to gain $100. So if there's a risk on the line where they could lose $100 or gain $100, people will more likely make the choice not to lose 100 rather than risk gaining, because the risk of loss is far more painful than the benefit of potential gain. So just a little something for you from a psychological standpoint. So that's where I start. I always start with, what is the goal? What does my audience need to accomplish? What do they want to accomplish? What pain points are they trying to avoid? And then comes the research. So this is the longest part of the entire process, is the research aspect. Couple of places I start. So I go to examine.com. If you have not been to examine.com, you got to go there. You do not need a subscription. I do get a subscription because I get weekly and monthly reminders of new research that comes out. I can follow along with certain raw materials, certain supplements that I like to see if new research is out, new conflicting information is out. This is how I make sure that I stay on top of the dosing recommendations. So a lot of times I'll see on people's posts, like, you get on Facebook for more than a couple minutes and you're going to see an ad. And generally it's probably for a health and wellness supplement telling you like, hey, you can lose 20 pounds here real quick. Okay, whatever. But you'll see a lot of comments that say it's underdosed or it's ineffective because there's not enough of ingredient X, Y, and Z. And while sometimes people are a little bit misinformed about what underdosing actually is, it could just be a troll on on the Facebook page just trying to be a jerk. But it still piques my interest because I want to know, okay, we got to make sure that things are dosed appropriately. And then is there any scientific evidence to back up what dosages we're trying to get? So I go to examine.com and I'm going to walk you through how I formulated our new Immunity Plus vitamin, which, teaser here, it will be released in about mid-July. It's taken a little bit longer than I had anticipated. We started working on this late February, but it's going to be here very soon. And I'm so excited to add another product to the line. It was a missing piece in the Red H Nutrition supplement line. So Immunity Plus, it comes out about mid-July. Stay tuned for that. There will be certainly a pre-order opportunity to save you some dough, get it in your hands and start using it to prevent downtime. But hey, before I digress any further, I go to examine.com. I check things out. Once I know like what the problem we're trying to solve is, I start very general. For example, I guess we can just start with the Immunity Plus, right? With COVID still being in the back of most people's minds, I'm not going to get political on it because that's not what this podcast is for, but COVID's in the back of people's minds. Like, it hasn't gone away yet. So we're always thinking like, how can I stay healthy? And I am grateful for it for some reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is it got people aware. It got people aware of their health, their fitness, and what level that they were at, and kind of made people make a choice. Like, am I willing to do some work and boost my immunity and create health and longevity for myself, or am I just willing to keep letting life happen to me? And with the immunity vitamin, a big problem is, I don't want any downtime, especially when we're everyday athletes. Like, time is very, very valuable. And the last thing you want is to lose downtime because you're sick. It sucks to be sick, doesn't it? You're making progress. You got a great training plan. You're like 3-4 weeks in and you get sick. And then you know what it's like when shit hits the fan. It sucks. It sucks. So preventing downtime is really, really important. So I saw a gap in the Red H Nutrition line. I'm like, got to make an immunity vitamin. So I start going to Examine and I start looking at raw materials, raw supplements, herbs, vitamins, minerals that promote immunity. And what I came up with is unlike any other supplements that's out there. And how I can tell you that is true is I do competitor research. So competitor research is another component to creating a good supplement. I go to Amazon. I see what bestsellers are. I look at pricing. I look at reviews. I see what's working for people and what's not working. Like, if you haven't done this yet, here's another pro tip. Go to Amazon, look at reviews for a product you're wanting to buy, whether it's a nutritional supplement or a household item or a piece of clothing, whatever it may be. Go to the negative reviews first, because there is a wealth of information in what people don't want and what people don't like. Because often, like, that's the first thing we think of is we're so hyper-focused on what we don't want, we tend to forget what we really do want. So if you're looking for a way to do good research on like a product or, even developing your own supplement, go to what people don't like and what they're complaining about, and you will get a whole wealth of information. Hey, I know, and you know, that I talk a lot about using supplements on your fitness journey and reaching your full potential. How I believe they're integral pieces of the puzzle to reaching your best self and best fitness results. But do you know how supplements fit into your plan? Do you know what to take for your goals and how much of a supplement you should take? If you've ever had any of those questions and you want to know how supplements can work for you and your goals, go to yourfitnesssupplements.com and take the free 3-point personalized supplement assessment. And with just a few questions, you'll have a complete personalized supplement recommendation in less than 60 seconds. You'll know more about how supplements fit into your fitness goals, what's safe, and what's effective and perfect for you. So type in yourfitnesssupplements.com in your internet browser, take the free assessment, and get on the fast track to your best fitness results. Okay, so competitor research, what's selling, what's not selling, reviews, we talked about reviews. I also have a tendency to buy competitor products before I bring anything out. So with the immunity vitamin, what I did is I bought 4 competitor products online. I tested them out. Two were in liquid form and 2 were in pill form. Because, how you deliver a product, the delivery system, is it in a capsule? Is it in a tablet? Is it in a liquid? Is it a powder? The delivery system has to make sense for how the supplements are absorbed into the body. So generally capsules are the way most things are. Some things are powders like pre-workout because it hits your system faster. That's something to consider as well too. So I go to reviews. I test out competitor products. I see what I like. I see what I don't like. How did they send it to me? How is it packaged? How does it look when it's packaged? Does it catch the person's eye? You have ever been into a GNC or another brick and mortar supplement store? It is wall to wall to wall of supplements. And there are walls for immunity. There are walls to fat burning. There are walls of pre-workout. And like moths to a flame, like flies to a zap light, we tend to go to the things that appeal to our eyeballs first, right? So that has an aspect to it. The actual aesthetic design of the labeling, what it's called, the claims that are made on the bottle, and how it looks on the shelf compared to others. And then I look at anecdotal evidence. So Examine is great because it has the scientific research backing behind it. It tells you a lot of dosing guidelines, within ranges, what works, what's the upper range of safety, what's like least effective dosing. But then anecdotal is really important. That's where reviews come in handy because that's like what people are actually experiencing. Research-based conclusions are twofold. They're both research-based, so actual documentation from scientists in a lab doing, controlled double-blind placebo studies. And then there's also what people are actually experiencing. So what you and I, what you tell your friends, what your parents have told you, like what they're actually experiencing. Because when it comes down to it, we place a lot of weight on science, but if we hear from our friends that something's working or we see the results in our friends, we're going to want to do what they're doing. So anecdotal evidence, the visual, like the actual seeing of things, seeing is believing. And that is what we also look at too. So the factors that go into the research, I go to examine.com. I buy competitor products. I look at competitors' products. I get them in my hands and see how they're presented. I look at the reviews. What are people saying? What do they like? What do they don't like? And then of course, what actually physically is manifesting with the use of this product. And I do it on myself too, because there is no possible way that anybody should ever try to sell you something if they're not willing to use it themselves. Remember that. Don't ever take something that the person selling you is not willing to take themselves. So now we're going to get into the next step. So after everything gets formulated, I send this to the manufacturer. And I work with a supplement manufacturer called Norax Supplements. They're out of Georgia. I have a great relationship with them. I've been using them for 4 years now. They follow very, very strict FDA guidelines, good manufacturing practice guidelines. All of their labeling is so very strict. In fact, with the immunity vitamin, we kind of had some hiccups because there were some things on the label that I just couldn't claim. I mean, even though I feel like it's true, like I can't say viral defense. So I can't say that an immunity booster will help you prevent pathogens from invading your body. I can't say things like that. So we adjusted our wording to make it more transparent and then of course fall into FDA regulations. So I'm not misleading people. And that's what those labeling guidelines help with. So I put the formula together. I say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you guys think? And they run it by a food scientist. So they run it by a food scientist for a couple reasons. One, to verify that the dosing is within the ranges that would be appropriate. Two, they make sure that everything synergistically can work together. So things don't contraindicate each other. Things are safe. And when I say contraindicate, it just means like one supplement doesn't necessarily cancel out the other supplement, okay? And then we look at the legality and the safety of it, which includes labeling standards. And then ultimately, we put the process in place. I pay a down payment. I order the number of bottles that we want, and I sit and I wait. I wait very, very patiently. It generally takes from 8 to 12 weeks from the moment that I sign the sales order to the time it is received in our warehouse. It's generally 8 to 12 weeks, which is entirely too long for me because I'm a very impatient person and I want it now because I act fast. But that's generally how long it takes. So if you get on the Red H Nutrition website, we are out of stock of some items right now. And this is true at this moment. And I hope a year from now when we chat, this is not true anymore. But the trickle down effect from COVID, when manufacturers closed their doors for a couple months during COVID, I'm feeling it now. Lots of other brands are feeling it now. So we have raw material shortages. We have raw materials not getting in on time. They're not able to be sourced because things were shut down. So we're feeling that trickle effect right now. So we're kind of seeing up to 16 weeks, 4 months of waiting. But it is what it is. We do the best that we can. I do the best that I can. I will assure you that. I try to order things well in advance. So we do inventory projections and make sure that we can have things in stock. Because if you love something, you know that being consistent with it is really important. That's it in a nutshell. We talked about like, what's the goal? What's the goal behind this? Like, what is the problem? What's the solution? And I do research on those problems. What supplements have helped? What research is there? What are competitors putting out there? What are customers saying about competitor products? How does a competitor's product actually work for me? Because I've tried them and I've used them. And then, of course, I try to one-up them because there are usually better ways to go about things. There's usually more efficient ways, more effective ways. And there are lots of different ingredients that can accomplish the same result. It's just finding the best combination. And I will tell you that every time I order a new batch, so every time I place a reorder, like Super Flexi has changed 4 times since we brought it out in the past 5 years. And the reason for that is because when I place a reorder, before I do that, I go online, I go to examine first and I see, is there anything new in the space? Any new information that would potentially change the dosing that's effective? The ingredients that are in it? Is there new information that says certain ingredients are ineffective now? So I make sure I do my due diligence and I'm always keeping things up to date. I will change a formula if it needs to be. I will keep a formula the same if it needs to be. And I wanted to give you an example of all of this. So all of this is good, but I want to actually put it in theory and tell you, because just very recently I put together the Immunity Plus vitamin. I told you it comes out here in a few weeks, but Immunity Plus, it is a Max Vitality Pro vitamin. So it is a vitamin, but what it does is the goal is to prevent sickness. I told you that over COVID, the immunity preventing colds was very, very on the top of everybody's mind. So the goals with Immunity Plus, it started like this: prevent sickness. We don't want any training downtime. We want to decrease our inflammation. There's lots of ways to decrease inflammation. And a lot of people think inflammation is just inflammation in the joints and tissues, but inflammation can be everywhere. Our bodies generally retain water when we're inflamed, so we can feel bloated, and our guts can be inflamed as well. And also anti-aging, preventing cellular breakdown, fortifying our cellular health and metabolism is something that we all want, right? We all want to live a long age, and we want to live a long age maximally. We don't want to, if you live to be 100 years old, that's great, but wouldn't it be great to be 100 years old and you're still going to get your own groceries, you're still driving, you're still able to do your activities of daily living, albeit when we're 100, we're probably going to be a little bit slower than we are right now. But I always say this, and I hope it's not too blunt for you, but I always want to be able to wipe my own butt. Okay, like that is like goal number 1. I don't want anybody else to ever have to do that for me. So I always think of anti-aging that way. Like, how can I make sure I can always take care of my physical body by myself? I'm going to get into the immunity here real quick and some other components to it. I'm going to give you the exact formula that I used, and I used examine.com. I used the research. I went to Amazon. This is what I came up with. So I started with garlic. We've got 500 milligrams of garlic in here, and I found that to be in the mid-range of the maximal and least effective dose. And what garlic does, it's a cardiovascular booster. So It decreases hypertension. It's anti-aging, it can help lower cholesterol, and it's anti-cancer. Then we move on to echinacea. There's 300 milligrams of echinacea in the Immunity Plus vitamin. Echinacea is great for the prevention of the common cold, and it's anti-inflammatory. Black elderberry. I'm sure you've heard of elderberry before. In fact, elderberry, when COVID hit, our manufacturers just like it blew up because now that everybody is hyper-focused on immunity, it's like a social, cultural thing now. Elderberry, syrups, extracts, and pills, everybody was out there selling. So the great thing about this is I was able to get a lot of good research and a lot of good reviews and things like that and help me make a decision on an elderberry. The concentration in the Immunity Plus is 300 milligrams, and it helps tame inflammation. So it's anti-inflammatory and it helps prevent and ease the common cold. So if you do happen to get sick, taking elderberry can help reduce the time that you're down and help relieve and decrease some of the intensity of the symptoms of the common cold, like the chills, not having an appetite, aches and pains, all those things with the common cold. Cough, it's very, very good for cough. Easing cough, like expectorants help get that phlegm out of there. Elderberry helps calm down the cough because it's anti-inflammatory, so it goes to your lungs. And then glutamine. Glutamine is something you've seen probably in sports performance supplements, and I wanted to put it in the Immunity Plus vitamin. You'll see a lot of good research with burn victims and glutamine and how it helps repair and regenerate cells quicker. So you have like that actual recovery if you got a burns or if you've got injuries, cuts, bruises. But glutamine is also an essential amino acid. So we do need glutamine. It generally is in a diet that is rich in red meat. It's immune system health as well, and it prevents muscle breakdown. So if you're an athlete and you want to build more muscle, so there's muscle anabolism and there's catabolism. And catabolism is when it breaks down. And we want to prevent the breakdown of muscle tissue. So glutamine is so vital for the prevention of muscle breakdown. And then broccoli seed extract. So the actual anti-cancer compound that is in broccoli seed extract is, I hope I get this right, it is sulforaphane. Sulforaphane, that is the actual compound, much like curcumin or curcuminoids are the compound in turmeric that prevent anti-inflammation or that are anti-inflammatory. The broccoli seed extract sulforaphane is the actual compound in broccoli seed that's an antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, and like I mentioned, it's similar to turmeric in that it has great anti-inflammatory properties. It's also anti-cancer. I don't say any of these things lightly. I don't take the concentrations of these ingredients lightly either. I always want to put together the best formula in the best dosages because I don't want to underdose anything. I don't want to sell you anything that's underdosed or, you end up reading and you look like, why did Katie do that? Like, doesn't she, didn't she do any research? I feel very, very comfortable if you went through and you did all your due diligence and you researched garlic bulb, echinacea, black elderberry, glutamine, and broccoli seed, and you'd see the concentrations that they're in, you would see that I've done my research and that these fall in lines with adequate doses based on the current research, based on what people are saying, and based on competitor products. So that, you guys, in the smallest 27, 28-minute nutshell I can provide you, that is how supplements are made. It is a time-consuming process. I mentioned that from sales contract signing to getting this actually in your hands could be up to 16 weeks, generally 8 to 12 if we're lucky. It's a time-consuming process, but I love to do it. I love to find out, what are my athletes struggling with? What challenges are they facing? And how can I make it easier? So I hope that this information helps, one, give you confidence in the Red H Nutrition brand first and foremost, because I would never, ever sell you anything purposefully underdosed, not researched, and something I wouldn't take myself or have my mother or mother-in-law take. Because those people I care about, and I care about you, and the Red H Nutrition label, it's my name. It is who I am, and I never want to be embarrassed by anything that's on that label. So then using a manufacturer that follows FDA guidelines for safety and for efficacy is also very, very important, because when that gets in your hands, I want it to work for you. I want you to feel good. I want you to look good. And I want you to accomplish all the goals that you have set out for yourself. Take this information, make sure that you use it, feel confident in the choices you make. And you can always go to redhnutrition.com and browse the entire line. And if you haven't already, you can use 2 coupon codes to save you some cash. Coach Katie Danger, all one word, will save you 30% on your first order. Or podcast20 will get you 20% off your order all the time. Or you can do the best deal there is, and you can create your own bundle. You can get 3 for $99. Best deal, hands down. Won't find anything like it out there. So make sure you shop at redhnutrition.com. I hope that this podcast and information gives you the confidence that I am doing the best I can with all the information that's out there to make sure that when you get this product in your hands, it's going to accomplish exactly what you want it to do, and you can reach your goals a little bit faster. They're puzzle pieces. Now, they can be small puzzle pieces or big puzzle pieces, but they will help you bridge nutritional gaps, performance gaps, whatever other problem you're looking to solve. There's probably a supplement to help you get from point A to point B. So do not discount how supplementation can help you. I promise you there's something out there that can be added to your plan to help you get better results. If the question you still have on your mind is, yeah, but what do I need right now? If you're new to supplements and you're like, I don't really know what to use, go to yourfitnesssupplements.com. It's a 30-second survey. It'll ask you a couple questions, and then you'll get 3 supplements that you can use right now to help leverage you with the results that you want to get. So go to yourfitnesssupplements.com, all one word, yourfitnesssupplements.com. Take that quick survey, and you can find out what's appropriate for you right now and your needs. But in the meantime, athletes, I am always here to help you. Send me an email if you have any questions, Katie@CoachKatieDanger.com. Make sure you join my nutrition and coaching group on Facebook. That link will be in the show notes, so you can always join at any time. It is a free group full of information. We've got about 5,000 people in on it right now. You guys, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. This is episode number 71. Whatever you do, believe in yourself. Believe in the process. Trust the journey, and whatever you do, don't ever, ever quit. Whatever you want in life, it's worth it. But you do got to take action. You got to make those priorities a reality by taking action. So don't ever quit on yourself. Believe in what you want and go after and get it, because you are in complete control. You guys, athletes, thank you for joining me. This is Coach Katie Danger, and I will talk to you again next week. But for now, over and out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.